Can you introduce yourself and a little bit about you?
Yeah. My name is Jessica Oyoke. I am originally from South Texas. Originally from Houston, Texas, and moved down to South Texas, where I lived most of my life until I was about 18. Then I moved away for college, and then I moved to Michigan. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so how do you identify yourself?
In terms of, I guess, how I see myself, I definitely, now more in my adult life, I identify as a strong Latina, and so I guess I'll go back a little bit. When I was growing up, my parents spoke nothing but English, so my first language was in Spanish, and so I very heavily identify with the American culture. It wasn't until I moved in with my grandparents, who only spoke Spanish, that I started getting a little bit more culturally influenced by them. And then when I moved to South Texas, where it's predominantly Latino population, I definitely found myself culturally. And then when I moved into college, there wasn't a lot of us in college, and even into higher education when I got my master's degree, it definitely is where I was challenged with my cultural identity. And so I'm now proud to say, based on where I work and just my experiences educationally, that I heavily identify as a strong, educated Latina woman.
Do you have a degree?
I do. I have 2 degrees, actually. One of them is a Bachelor of Science in Sociology with a minor in Psychology that I got from Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. And my other degree is a Master's of Social Work that I received here at Michigan State University.
So what are your hopes doing with your degree?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think when I first graduated with my bachelor's, I didn't necessarily understand the direction in which I wanted to go. I think like many of us who come from South Texas, just getting out of the valley and getting an education, or just getting an education in general, was sufficient. At least for me, in my family, I was first generation. So getting a bachelor's degree in anything was better than nothing. And so when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I didn't have any really big influences of where to go. It was until I had an internship that was very heavily impacted my life in terms of social services. It was a nonprofit organization that dealt with kids. And so with that definitely motivated me to continue my education. I really like to learn. And so social work was just kind of brought to me by a supervisor, and I kind of went into that direction. Because it was like, hey, you like to work with people, you like to help people, and I really loved that aspect of it. So it's definitely what motivated me to go into that realm of social work. Now that I have a degree in social work, it's like the sky is the limit as long as it's working with people. So yeah, I guess anything that I have to do in terms of social services or assisting people or communities, that's definitely where I see myself.
Tell us about your journey to achieve your job position.
Like this job position or any job position?
Well, this one.
Okay. My journey to achieve this job position. So this job position actually just came at a right time in my life. When I started my career here at Michigan State, pursuing my master's degree, I didn't really know anybody. I came up here with my partner, who was from Texas, who had been up here in Michigan. And so for me, it was all new experience, different environment, didn't have any networks. And I like to say I'm a very extroverted person, and so I connect with people really easily, except that first year was very difficult for me. So I was yearning and looking for a place on campus, and I found Migrant Student Services, where I felt I had this sense of identity and this connection to. And through that connection and just me coming into the office, I was able to secure a graduate assistantship that allows me to work with the freshman students who are incoming through their College Assistance Migrant Program. And through that role, I found that I really enjoyed working with teenage youth and just kind of providing and sharing those experiences that I had in undergrad. And so that kind of carried on to a second year. And so by the time I was about to graduate, it just happened that this position was open, and I was offered the position. And so that's where I am today.
How does the environment of the workplace feel for you, and how do you think it would compare to the average woman in America?
The office environment here is very relaxed. For the most part, all of us are very family oriented. We treat each other like family. It doesn't feel, in the sense, the typical workplace where it's very structured, and I guess that could be somewhat of a limitation, but I definitely enjoy the unity that we have as a staff, and that makes it worth coming to work every day, and along with kind of fostering that and facilitating that to our students, that this is, a home away from home. So I think for a woman, definitely, I mean, there's a lot, we're an equal balance here. There's a balance of women and male staff members. I still think that there's, culturally, sometimes I think we still see the man as, just a higher, not a higher power, but just a stronger sense of authority. But I definitely think that that's changing. Definitely in this environment is changing. You'll see a lot more, we have a lot more assertive women in our office. That makes it even, like, as a young professional myself, makes it like, wow, like I can see myself in those positions. So I definitely think it's changing, but overall the office environment is a really great a unified office structure.
How diverse would you say your workplace is?
Not much. We're predominantly Hispanic staff, a Latino staff, and to some degree, I can see where that works. For our students who are predominantly Latino, who come through our programs and through the various programs that are through our office. So not entirely. We're like about probably 98% Latino population our staff is.
So what are your thoughts on competitive women wages?
If you're asking if women need to be paid more, yes. Growing up, I never noticed the difference. I've always prided myself in having an extreme work ethic, and that was provided through my father and my grandfather. And to see them work as hard and for me to work that hard, I never really considered that there was a wage difference. I just always thought, like, oh, we all get paid the same. It really depends on the work that you do. But coming into a professional realm, and not just in my professional role here or in various other places, but just going into college and like entering college and seeing that there was a discrepancy in wages. I think for me, obviously, I feel it's super unfair, because for women I feel like we tend to work a lot harder just so we get noticed and so we get credit, but we're not getting that in terms of compensation. So I do think that we need to be more competitive in what we're getting, especially Latina women, as we're at the bottom of the wage gap. And so, yeah, I mean, I think if I can, I would one day hope to tell my daughter that she's just going to get paid as much as a man, and it would be unfortunate for her to put all of her work into this without reaping the benefits of someone else who didn't.
What does your job position expect from you?
Anything student services related. I think the student connection is what I, as my role as a student service coordinator for the College Assistance Migrant Program, is just being very mindful of the student transition, academic related concerns, but also the well-being of our students coming in. So for me, I personally feel that this role encompasses a lot, and it's an umbrella. Anything can fall under student services, and so I personally take it. I personally go forward to make sure that our students are not only doing well academically, but they're doing well physically, mentally, and that their whole experience here at MSU is a really good one, because we do have students who are coming and leaving their families and leaving their homes, and I can personally say that at 18, I don't know if I would be able to do that. So to commend our young students who are coming, for me, that's my personal expectation, but I think in terms of the institution, the expectation is student services.
So, can you recall a job you used to do that was the most fulfilling and most dreading?
I don't feel I ever had a job that was so dreadful that I didn't look forward to going to. Now, don't get me wrong, there was days that I probably didn't want to go in for whatever reason, but I think that every role that I've ever played, I've always did it to my best. And for me, what that means is performing a role to your best, to the point where you enjoy it. So I never felt like, oh, I don't want to go to work. I mean, again, there's days where you just don't want to, but I don't think I ever dreaded going into a place. And for me, if I had to pick one, and I couldn't compare it to our students, I didn't have seasonal farm work experience, and so I know through conversations with my students, I'm very mindful of how I was brought up and what my experiences were. But if I had to choose, it would be retail. I think that I definitely would prefer to be in this role, guiding and supporting students, than being in retail. It was a great experience, but if I had to choose, I would definitely pick this all the time.
So, what are some things you would like to see improved in your career going forward?
In my professional career, not just in this role, I think long term. I'm 26 years old now. I still got the rest of my life ahead of me, and I definitely would love to continue to learn and grow. I can't stay still. I am constantly like, what can I improve in my role here? Or thinking long term. I definitely would like to work with nonprofits, do more community organization work, and that just kind of goes back to my foundation of learning. I genuinely like to learn, and I like to know what's new, and how can we be adaptive in our area. So professionally, I definitely see myself going back to school. Doing what, I don't know. But I definitely see that in my future. And then just growing from every job opportunity or career opportunity I have, doing the best of my ability in those roles, and then growing and learning and moving on to the next challenge that I'd like to overcome.